Hello and welcome to today's WorkSafe Month webinar, Compliance Brings You Freedom. I'm Stephanie Morawski from WorkSafe Tasmania and I will be your moderator. Before we start, please take a moment to read the following slide about information received today. I will now go over housekeeping. Here is a screenshot of the attendee control panel. You should see something that looks like this on the right hand of your screen. You're likely listening in using your computer's speaker system by default. If you would prefer to listen over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. Webcams and audience microphones will not be used in today's presentation. Questions will be taken throughout the presentation. Please use the questions pane on the control panel to type and submit your questions. There is also an attendee handout now available for download via the handouts pane. This handout will be mentioned during today's presentation. Finally, today's webinar is being recorded. I would now like to introduce your presenter, Hazel Smirlis, the Director of Compliance Lab. Hazel lives, breathes and sleeps systems. Hazel is a dedicated and results-driven management systems consultant with a highly successful background in the development and implementation of management systems. She is experienced in working with a number of clients ranging from the construction to manufacturing industries. With over 15 years experience working in systems compliance, Hazel works with SMEs, helping them to develop and implement systems that reduce risk, improve their performance and drive business growth. Welcome, Hazel.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm so looking forward to helping you with safety in your workplace. Oops, I'm going a bit too fast. I will discuss during this presentation how compliance will bring you freedom. I'll go through some common safety issues that we at Compliance Lab often see in the workplace. These are items such as management commitment, contractor management, legal requirements, risk management, training and induction, emergency preparedness, safety policies and procedures. These are common themes we see lacking in different industries and businesses of all sizes. Before I get going on my presentation, I wanted to share with you a little about me and Compliance Lab. At Compliance Lab, we help businesses with ISO certification and creating systems for business. I've spent over 10 years in the compliance industry and my passion is helping businesses with systems. At Compliance Lab, our mission is to help people and business to create systems so that they can be more, do more, and enjoy more. Safety is very close to my heart, and I see it as such an important aspect for every business and system we create. Workplace safety encompasses many things: injury management, emergency procedures, chemical safety, first aid, equipment safety, fire safety, electrical safety, and just so much more. Everyone has a right to a safe workplace, and everyone has a role to play in keeping it safe. Latest statistics in Australia is that there was 144 work-related injury fatalities last year. This is something I want to make an impact on in the future. Each and every person who leaves home for work in the morning should go back home in the evening in good health. I saw this video and really wanted to share it with you, as I think it really truly highlights the importance of safety in the workplace. Stephanie? Yeah. Hope you all got a lot out of the video. I know I did, and I really strongly related to how important safety is in the workplace. Now I'd love for you to share by finishing off the sentence. To me, safety is about. Can you add to the chat bar, what does safety mean to you?
All right, thank you, Hazel. So everyone, if you can type your responses into the question pane, please. A response that's come through, Hazel, everyone's responsibility.
Okay.
Going home the same way you came to work, perhaps richer for the experience. Going home in one piece, leaving the same or better than you arrived at work, mentally and physically. Ensuring our workers stay safe and healthy.
Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts on safety and what it means to you. We often find that people say that safety is about freedom of risk of physical harm, about injury-free, zero harm, well-being, risk, and we've had people mention it's about going home, people, caring, communication. Safety means different things to people. I think it is really important to note that even though you may have a workplace that has zero injuries, it doesn't necessarily mean that that workplace is safe. So safety, I believe, is a mix of all of these things. And thank you so much to everyone who shared. 8 common safety issues that I mentioned previously that we often see in workplaces. And so I thought I'd go through each one of these here today. Lack of management commitment, lack of contractor management, lack of legal requirements knowledge, lack of risk management, training not being maintained, inadequate inductions that don't include safety, lack of emergency preparedness, and lack of safety policies and procedures. I'm sure you've all seen a mix of these or some of these in the workplace. These have been selected as that they can have significant safety impacts, but they also have pretty straightforward fixes. As we go through, I'm going to ask some reflection questions. You don't need to answer in the chat box, but I encourage you to write down your notes and reflections. If you do have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'm starting with management commitment, and when we see a lack of management commitment, I think this is key for safety to work in any workplace. We've all heard statements such as, our safety manager looks after safety. It's not my problem. We don't do safety. We don't have time for safety. We don't need to report hazards. These are some things that we often come across in workplaces. Now, my tips in this area is determine safety responsibilities and clearly communicate them. I think it's really important to add safety details into position descriptions. That way, people know that safety is important to your business and they also know the responsibilities relating to safety. As a manager, commit time, money, and resources to safety. Purchase the required resources such as providing appropriate equipment, having safety training, and providing PPE, personal protective equipment. Make safety a priority. As a manager, ensure that you attend meetings and show your commitment. Add safety as an agenda item to all your meetings. Also, have a health and safety policy that shows that you are committed to safety. Another really important safety topic that is often overlooked is contractor management. Contractor safety management protects the safety and health of your team, your contractors, their subcontractors, and your reputation. Examples of poor contractor management includes no process to manage contractors, no contracts with him in place, no contractor induction process, and no safety records being obtained. Tips to improve your contractor management in terms of safety includes the following. Perform a due diligence check. This is where you take all reasonable steps to check that your contractor you engage will work safely in your workplace. Verify that the contractor is qualified, has appropriate licenses, has insurances, and is authorised to carry out the work. Assess the contractor's ability to perform the required work safely and efficiently. Review the safe work method statements provided. Contractors must provide you with a safe work method statement for any high-risk work they perform in your workplace. Ensure that you not only just receive these SWMs, but also review it. Check that it is site-specific and it demonstrates that the contractor has gone through a risk assessment process. Carry out an induction. Your induction for contractors entering your workplace should cover site entry, access and amenities, relevant business policies, relevant safety procedures, and emergency response procedures. Then monitor the workers. Check that they're complying with the SWMs. Conduct an audit and review the contractor's work. The thing with this is it's important to remember that any contractor on your workplace, if they get injured, you can be held concurrently liable. Legal requirements. Have you thought about the consequences of not knowing the safety legal requirements? Awareness and implementation of legal requirements is something we often see lacking in business. Have you ever seen the following in regards to legal requirements? A lack of knowledge, someone not having enough time to find out, don't know where to go. Our business doesn't have any safety issues. For example, in Victoria now, there's a new law relating to industrial manslaughter introduced middle of this year. We are still often finding that businesses are unaware of this new law. Next, I want to actually do a poll and see, do you believe if you are aware of your safety legal requirements? This is just a yes or no answer.
We'll close the poll shortly, Hazel.
Okay.
I'll close the poll, Hazel, and share the results.
Okay, fantastic. So it's great. 86% believe that they are aware of their legal requirement. That's great to see. Thanks. All businesses must comply with health and safety laws, no matter how big or small you are. There's some really great resources on government websites. WorkSafe Tasmania and Safe Work Australia have awesome websites. These websites provide a wealth of information relating to industries and current legislation requirements. It's also a great idea to subscribe to their regular newsletters on these websites, and they'll provide you with updates to legal requirements. Once you have looked at all these legal requirements, I strongly suggest that you list all the relevant requirements and review them on a regular basis, at least quarterly. And that way you're being kept up to date with any legal requirement changes. But the key with this is you not only just need to list them, you do need to understand what the requirements are. Risk management is a big gap in a number of workplaces. We often see no risk assessments, no safe work method statements for high risk work, no records being maintained, risks identified, however they lack controls, no defined risk management process. We found only 36% of organisations have a formal risk management program. Risk management reduces the likelihood of a workplace accident. It reduces and prevents fines, lawsuits, penalties from non-compliance issues, and shows workers the business truly cares about their safety. It's so important to establish a process for risk management in your business. Define a risk matrix for your business. Look at ISO 31000, which is a risk management standard. It is a great platform to use to establish your risk management in your business. Create a template risk register. And the big piece with this one is get your workers involved. Get them involved with creating and developing the risk management framework and also doing the risk assessments in your business. It is so important to start defining these risks in your workplace and then putting in place controls to, as far as practical, eliminate that risk. I love this quote and I thought I would share it with you. The only thing worse than training employees and losing them is to not train them and keep them. We often see the following in relation to workplaces: expired training and licenses, lack of training, no training records. And that really concerns me. Untrained workers are more susceptible to injuries. This happens when workers lack the knowledge and skills required to use equipment and supplies. The problem could be fatal in work environments that contain heavy-duty machinery and hazardous materials. It's so important to provide general workplace safety for all your workers. It's also important to supervise your workers to ensure that they are following your safe work procedures. So my tips when it comes to training is develop a training plan. Identify the training that's required in your business. Keep those training records. So if someone goes and does first aid, fire warden, has appropriate license, keep a record of that training. And the last one is tracking expiry. So if you have any training or licenses that expire, have calendar reminders. Put them in yourselves and someone else in the business calendars, so that way no one forgets when training is due to expire. You could even create a spreadsheet that is reviewed on a regular basis and ensure that you don't let any licenses or training expire. Do you remember the first time you didn't have an induction? I know I do. As a worker, it makes such a difference when you're inducted into any business. So something we often see is businesses with no induction process, no induction records, and safety just not included as part of the induction process. Whenever you hire a new worker, it's important that you incorporate safety into their induction to the workplace before they start their work. Not only will this help them understand how to do their work safely, it will let them know that you take safety seriously. Use a checklist to make the induction easier and more thorough. Keep the checklist on file as a record of training. Some key tips: have a defined induction process. As I mentioned, developed an induction checklist that includes safety. Safety items that you can include are things like where the first aid kits are, who the fire wardens are, who the first aiders are, where your emergency evacuation point is. All those things should be captured at the induction process. You'll find in the handout section of your chat box an induction template that you can use in any business. And obviously you can alter this to suit, but it incorporates the safety elements that I've just talked about. Now I want to do a poll and ask you, how often do you conduct emergency drills in your workplace? Once a year, twice a year, you don't conduct them, or you just don't know, or other?
We'll close the poll shortly, Hazel.
No problem.
I'll close the poll and share the results.
Thank you. Okay, so we've almost got close to 40% that either don't conduct them or maybe don't know. Now, big piece and a big gap that we often see is that businesses don't know, and it is a requirement that you do emergency drills in your workplace. I would strongly suggest at a minimum that you do them once a year. And in a lot of workplaces, if you're in a building where building management looks after it, ensure that they're doing it at least annually, and make sure you get records of when these drills have been conducted. Thank you for everyone. So leading on, have you seen these or come across them in a workplace? No first aid kit, no first aiders or fire wardens, no fire extinguishers, no evacuation plan, no emergency drills practiced. Some really easy suggestions include first aid kits. Ensure you have one. Review the contents on a regular basis to make sure you haven't run out of items, but also check them for expiry. Things like the burn cream, the eye wash, they do expire, so it's so important to be checking these on a regular basis. Have trained first aiders and fire wardens and keep the records of this training. Make sure that the first aiders keep up to date with their training and that the expiry dates don't lapse. Provide fire extinguishers and ensure that they're being regularly checked. Prepare emergency plans and use AS 3745, which provides you the tools to be able to develop those emergency plans in-house. You could also outsource those and get them done externally. Next one, which we all talked about, run at least an annual emergency drill. Such an important thing, because you want to know where to go and in case of an emergency, and you want your staff to know that if something does happen, they know where to go. The next part is safety policies, procedures. We often come across no safety policy, no safety procedures, lack of implementation, lack of training in procedures. I truly value systems, obviously, and the ability for them to provide such a good tool in business. Studies have found that incorporating safety management systems into normal business operation does reduce accidents and improve safety. Systemizing your business is about providing others with the resources to do the work, peace of mind that things are being done the way you want them to be done, and automating processes to save time and expense. So in terms of this one, develop and implement a safety policy. Train your staff at Induction on this policy. Develop procedures to support your business in terms of safety and include things like incident management, risk management, and emergency management in your business. Use ISO 45001, which is a safety management standard, to develop your safety system in your workplace. Oops. In conclusion, having defined systems will support safety in the workplace. Safety risk management will create freedom. Successful businesses have systems in place for many aspects of their business, particularly in safety. A system should assist your business in understanding your hazards and risks, eliminating or minimizing risks, and ensuring engagement and participation from your workers. A system does not leave safety to chance, and it is so much more than just a manual. Build on what you're already doing. Use the safety systems that work in your business. Self-assess and know where you can improve. And as I mentioned, there are incredible website resources that are available for you to use. Systems give you the freedom of time, the freedom of headspace, the freedom of risk, because everything is laid out for other people to work through it. It makes it so much easier for everyone in the business. I would love for you to take some actions from this webinar. It's so important to just make a start. Pick one of the items discussed today where you know you've got a gap in your business and take action. Make safety a priority today. And last but not least, I'd love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I post daily and I really share a significant amount of resources relating to safety and ISO systems. If you want to learn more about Compliance Lab, please head to our website. Thank you so much for your time today, and I've really enjoyed sharing this presentation with you.
Thank you, Hazel, and thank you, everyone. We'll now take questions from the audience. So please type and submit your questions into your questions pane for Hazel to answer. And just to remind everyone, if you haven't had the opportunity yet to download the induction checklist, which Hazel referred to in her presentation, it's sitting in your handouts pane. So do take the opportunity before the end of the presentation to download that handout. And just to remind everyone as well, WorkSafe month runs until the end of October, so there's still time to head to the WorkSafe TAS month website, have a look at what other webinars we are running during WorkSafe month. And also to remind everyone, this week is Mental Health Week. So we are also running during this week some mental health and wellbeing webinars, as well as throughout WorkSafe month. So again, please do head to the WorkSafe TAS month website. Hazel as well mentioned a few websites for people to head to for further information. So the Safe Work Australia website, as well as the WorkSafe Tasmania website. So again, head to those sources of information for further information about how to be compliant. There's still time, everyone, if you would like to have any questions for Hazel to answer. No questions have come through, Hazel, so I
No
trust it
problem.
was a good presentation. So look, what I'll start to wrap up, everyone. But having said that, look, please, there's still time to submit your questions in the questions pane, and Hazel can answer them. So thank you, Hazel Smirlis, Director of Compliance Lab, for today's webinar, Compliance Brings You Freedom, and thank you everyone as well for attending. Once you do leave today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation. We would appreciate your feedback, so please take a few moments to answer those questions. As I mentioned, WorkSafe month is running throughout October. Please head to the WorkSafe TAS month website to see what other webinars, presentations we are running for free. And today's webinar has also been recorded, so if you would like to go back and listen to the tips that Hazel gave, the recording will be made available at the end of WorkSafe month. On behalf of WorkSafe Tasmania and the WorkCover Tasmania Board, thank you for joining us, and thank you, Hazel.
Thank you.